Thank you.
All right. This is the meeting of the Council Rock Facilities Committee. My name is Mike Thorwood. I'm the committee chair. Let's go around the room, give everybody's name, and we'll get started. We got a lot of material to cover now.
Sure. Doug Taylor, Director of Operations.
Wendy Thomas.
Mark Wiley.
Jared Director.
Marianne McKee, Director.
Ed Tate, Director.
Cindy Lawn, President of Crestwell.
Nancy Carroll, Citizen.
Kyle Kessie, School Board.
Matt Ferguson, IT Director.
Thank you. And with that, Doug? Tom Crow.
Tom Crow. It's we work side by side.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So the agenda for tonight, I got about 15 minutes of stuff, and I want to start on time with the first interview team. So facilities improvements updates, consent agenda, board agenda items, some miscellaneous things, and then custodial interviews. I have an abbreviated agenda so we can get you guys on board here quickly. The Newtown Middle School project and Holland are both doing well. Over the holiday break, we have a team of about 15 people that are going to move the existing office into the new office at Holland Middle School. We're occupying another area of renovations and a group of music rooms and some classrooms upstairs. So all of that will happen when kids come back after the new year. They will have some new pieces of the building to walk through and experience. So that is all good news and on schedule. I do share the monthly progress reports with the board, and we also have a weekly news update. We're starting to share some of those projects publicly as well. Susan O'Grady. This is just letting you know that we're on track for the May completion at Newtown Middle School. And again, the classrooms and health classrooms and music classroom administration that we're moving into in a couple weeks. So an update on Wrightstown Elementary School. I'm going to be presenting PlanCon AD at the board meeting next Thursday. We're requesting your approval. Essentially, actually not. I want to put it in the consent agenda if that's okay with you. There's currently a moratorium on PlanCon in Harrisburg. We don't know when it will come back, what it will look like when it comes back. It may not look like itself at all. But we did talk to PDE and said we do want to submit this project. Will you accept it? They said they would take Part A and put it on a shelf and hold it there. I told the design team and they agreed that we would like to process the paperwork for this project as if they were accepting it. And then if something does change, at least we're hopefully in the loop for some potential reimbursement should they change what's happening. So they did say they'd accept A, which is this is good to get in, and we'll see what we can do down the road.
And based on current rates, Doug, how much money would that represent?
It's minimal. I mean, it could be a project like this, $2 million or something like that, but it's over the life of the bond as the project's paid back. It's not a big lump of money to pay back.
Right.
So project Part A is basically a brief project description and accounting based on the estimates of the project. It's just the kind of preliminary budget. And the Part B is schematic design. It's just a conceptual floor plan, site plan, and some minimal educational specifications. The site plan looks a lot like I've been showing you. The floor plan with the mechanical room expansion, the kitchen area, the classrooms are linked across the back, so we have good circulation around the building, and the alternate gym. And the parking lot has a concrete sidewalk around the entire perimeter, so we have apparent drop off along here and a nice path of circulation. So that's all greatly improved from what it is today. The floor plan looks similar on a larger scale. That's the entrance that you would come in if you went into the building, the existing multi-purpose room cafeteria. In the kitchen area, we expand up into this area. The alternate gym, the link that would allow circulation around the building. And these are the 6 classrooms that we're talking about adding. But when you take an existing classroom away to create 2 toilet rooms, it's a net gain of 5 classrooms. So it looks like 6, but it's actually 5. We do have a room with 2 doors and a divider so we can have two smaller rooms, we need to break it down the road. So we have some flexibility as well.
Feedback on slide, please.
Yes.
Where's the front of the building now? Can you
This is the front right here. This is turned 90 degrees from what you saw. So the budget still looks like it has. We've been updating it as we have project team meetings, and we have the additions at around 4.9, the renovations at 5.7, site-related costs, allowances for fire tanks, sanitary work, and electrical upgrades, the estimated construction costs, professional fees, including the design contingency, total project budget of 18.2, which includes the gym, and a potential of about 1.5, maybe less, to eliminate the gym, which would reduce the 18.2 by whatever the value of that gym is. The other piece that will be on the agenda for Thursday is Plan Con Part D, Act 34 resolution approval. We are required, this is required regardless of the moratorium. It's concerned with the estimated project cost, that's the district's ability to make payments. It estimates the state reimbursement and addresses requirements to hold the hearing. So what I would be asking for is your permission to advertise after that meeting. We would advertise minimum 20 days. Then we would have a hearing at the January 18th board meeting at 6 p.m. before the meeting starts. The board is not required to participate in that. You're simply observers of that process if you wish to be there. The design team will present that at least an honor for its official board meeting. That's pretty much the plan pieces for this right now. There is no part C, that's site acquisition. So if you're wondering what happened to C, that's not something we would need for this project. We already own the project. So the schedule on this project is moving along. We did get a conditional approval from Wrightstown supervisors the beginning of December. The advertisement of Act 34 is next. The board approval of that, and then the actual hearing on the 18th. The bidding and review of those at the May 3rd facilities meeting. The board approval pending your acceptance of the project at the 17th May meeting, and then notice to proceed shortly thereafter. So if this goes well, bids are favorable, if the board approves it, we would hope to start some site construction the beginning of July before students leave the site, but it would be site related, nothing in the building. And then July 30th or June 30th once. June 1st for site, June 30th for the building. So that's basically what this says. And then it would finish up the following. Rolling Hills Elementary School additions and renovations project. We did do the site work. Fortunately, we got in to do the site investigations, which was what was approved by the board to this point. Snow did come, and of that we got in and did our existing condition surveys and got the soils test and all those other things. So the team wrapped that up. They'll have all the documentation together, the reports back, and the existing topography done by the beginning of January. So I'd like to come back to the board in January to seek your approval to continue with the design phase. At that time, the board can let me know if that's your desire or not. The conceptual site and floor plan is something that is generally developed after you approve that. I did meet with David Schrader earlier this week after work, and we just developed some very schematic bubble diagrams of the building. He's not billing us for his time, just to see what kind of schemes we could come up with to make the building function as an elementary school, based on a program I developed with Sam Smith, the principal of Rolling Hills Elementary School. So I sat with Sam, took a look at the building, all the needs of the building, and what the spaces are today, what the spaces want to be, develop the square footage based on that, the grossing factor, to see if it fits within the overhang, if we need a little bit of an addition, how it will work. So we use that to develop some very schematic schemes that we would bring back once they're approved to officially start documenting those options. So having a little fun, it was something some time that was contributed to us by Schrader. So that's really where we are with Rolling Hills at this time. This is tough to see. This is the existing Rolling Hills Elementary School. This is the canopy in the back that's all exterior overhang that would like to capture the square footage by constructing a perimeter wall and some potential area for expansion. The boiler room, we probably want to live. There's an exterior stair that goes down to an electrical room. If you built the mechanical room over those stairs, you'd have an interior stair to the electrical room. And directly above it would be your mechanical boiler room. So we'll work it all there. This is right next to the cafeteria. If we're going to expand, it would work well. So it really provide for an addition at one area, which is the most cost-effective way to add on to a building, other than going through a bunch of little pieces, which is more costly. And this is a floor plan to kind of show you the same. So there's a set of stairs outside. It goes down to a boiler, not a boiler, it's an electrical room down in here. So like constructing a boiler room here, and perhaps extending the cafeteria here, or you could potentially extend the cafeteria inward and not add that square footage, depending on how the programming works out. So there's all sorts of things that have to be studied once we get more serious about that. The project remains the same budget that we talked about until we have time to put some stuff down in hard line with actual dimensions to make sure that we can facilitate that program at those costs, which again would be a January, February exercise. And the schedule, if we hold the January approval of it, will allow us to phase this sequentially right after Wrightstown. So Wrightstown vacate the Richboro Middle School in 20, and then we would move Rolling Hills in and allow that building to be renovated in a year without kids in it as well. Right?
Do we have full we decided for sure?
Yes, we did. We agreed to use it for our middle schools and elementary schools. We have an actual motion. A couple months ago.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't think I was there for it.
Please don't scare me. So these are the consent agenda items that will show up on the agenda. There are a series of access security hardware projects, a bunch of small projects. I asked Bill Rick and the security team to kind of collect those and bring them to you in one shot. The other piece I'll bring to you later is our 10% or whatever the percentage is camera replacement for the years to continue to maintain the cameras across the district.
Are those proximity readers common for all the schools or just those three?
So when we did our security upgrades a few years back with Mark Klein and I initiated the whole program, we put card readers throughout the district.
Right.
This is to supplement some of that that's already in place. So for example, there were some offices where when you come to go in an office, because the door is secured from the office side to the hallway, you can't enter the office from the hallway without going into a lobby and coming back into the office.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
some of these are to add and to supplement what we did before. So
And
this
it's
is-
all in your current budget, right?
Yes, this is all.
Yeah,
I'm not asking. for
No, I'm
money.
just saying it's all budgeted money, you're just nice how you spend it.
I'm just making you aware of what, what we plan to spend. If there's something that alarms you, I want to know.
Pricey cameras.
I'm sorry?
$9,500, $4,500 a camera for the 2 additional exterior cameras.
There's,
Pricey.
it's actually a little more than that. I'll get you the proposal when you see it, has some additional items. I just generalized what was there. There's, I can look at the details and share it with you. It's not quite.
Not quite just 2 cameras.
Right.
Okay.
But in general, that's what we're.
I got you. There's still $4,500 a piece for IP cameras. Is
Right.
kind of
Wow.
5 times what they should be.
And then the server upgrade, software, and proximity cards as well. So,
And all of the access systems run centrally in the district. They're all tied back to one central control point.
is that true? Yeah, we have 3 servers.
Yes, that's true.
Somebody at a central control point can open a door, or, yeah. It's all centrally, okay.
Centrally manage the cars.
Well, no,
That's what it's done now.
that's fine. So it's one cart works there. My question was, if something was happening at a site, someone remote to that site could make it accessible to emergency responders.
This is the dashboard system. It's a green tool utilized for the middle school in Holland, for Newtown and Holland middle schools. This is using the school as a teaching tool, which is one of the lead points that we acquired to earn the gold certification. Basically gives you near real-time feedback. It ties into the building management system. It shows you the electrical usage of the solar system, of the heating, the air conditioning, gas. So it's there's several screens, up to 5 or 6 screens that the teachers can use to show the students how the building's functioning and use it as feedback for instruction purposes.
Doug, I'm not gonna hold you to do this, but I'd like to hear from someone who's actually gonna use this in the classroom, how it's gonna work. I mean, if you can send that back to.
I can do that. I also can get you some screen captures of what the system looks like. I do have a little bit of that to put in the board packet already.
Okay. If we're spending money on something you're calling education, I want to see it.
I actually met with Barry and we met with Renee, the science coordinator, and we developed an actual program.
I know you're doing it, it'd be nice to show you.
Yep, absolutely. It's the first time cost for both buildings, and there's an annual maintenance fee of about $2,500 a year for each of the 2 buildings. Then there's a couple change orders. These are credit change orders for unused allowances for a couple of projects and some $80,000 back unused money. Plan Con A and B, which we talked about earlier, Plan Con D Act 34 resolution. And that is it for 4 agenda items. The last thing I want to touch on before I bring the teams on board here, I have moving services for the upcoming projects currently out to bid. This is going to be a summer project. It's going to be a very large task for Mr. Cronin to manage. It's several bid packages. There's the move from Richboro Middle School to Holland and the new Newtown Middle School. Bid package 2 to move Wrightstown to Richboro Middle. Bid package 3 to move Newtown Middle School to the new Newtown Middle School and Holland Middle School. Bid package 4 to move Holland Middle School to Newtown Middle School. That's mostly teacher belongings, obviously, so there's different scales to each one of these scopes. And bid 5, which is basically provide us a price to do all 4 of these projects. Would there be a discount if you were to do all of that work? And then bid 6 is North and South High School athletic equipment. When we renovate those fitness centers, we have to empty those spaces of all of the equipment and waste. Ultimately, they're going to bring some new equipment in, but we need to move that and put it somewhere so students can still have a place to train in the absence of it. So that's part of it as well. That's its own breakout number. So this is a map to kind of show the firms where they're going and how it works. The general scope is that we're going to move all the boxes that are pre-packaged by us. So Barry's working with administration and the staff in terms of how and when this happens. They'll pack the boxes. Color-coded labels will be provided by the contractor, different color for each school. Stuck on the ends of every box in every classroom. Equipment will be tagged with the appropriate color so we know exactly what buildings they go to. The libraries will be provided with carts, rolling carts. They look almost like a rolling bookshelf. And they'll bring those to the school early, and the libraries can stack all the books on these rolling book carts. They wrap them up, and they move the carts to the next school, and we can roll them in to unload them in the new school.
Not to be silly, but I have seen on the news that sometimes, particularly when we're moving Wrightstown to the building, if we're moving it, that somehow giving students some sort of role, whether they each take 2 books and the bus goes to the new, something that makes it that they help to open the school. So those kids for the year think that they help to move.
I think that they do. I think that they will have the kids follow in some way. I have to talk to Barry about it.
That's fine, just, I want them to feel they have ownership. Just for a year, but ownership is ownership.
Science equipment, which is sensitive, obviously middle school level, the contractor provides plastic bins in advance and packing materials, so they'll work with those as well. And then all the materials that are ultimately moved to the schools are distributed to the respective spaces by the contractor. And we own it, it's unpacked. So we have a mandatory pre-bid coming up on the 19th of December. They have to visit the buildings the 27th and 28th of December. Deadline for questions. A bid opening on the 18th of January. I'll be back in February to review these bids with you and talk more about how it works and what it looks like. And then hopefully we'll talk about the cost for this. It's coming out of the soft costs of different buildings, not just one project, because I think it's going to be a pretty big chunk of change at the end of the day. Then we have, 4 or 5 pre-move meetings with the contractors to come in, sit with staff of each building, talk about how it looks and what we're going to do, how we're going to label, tag, et cetera, and timing for these projects. So it's a pretty detailed spec, and it's a project that I'm certainly concerned about. We need ready these buildings for. So as I say that, I also want to say when we think about the pending custodial change, the challenges that it may face, we may face at the same time we're implementing a new team, trying to acclimate them to the schools and managing these kind of moves. I'll do whatever the desire of the board is and we'll make things work. It's just a consideration.
And a real one.
As we work through it. So we're going to bring the first team in momentarily. We started the process in July. We're up to the interview process. I don't know that we'll have to talk about this again at the next facilities meeting. If you've heard these, if the board, ponder their thoughts, and we can make a decision at the board meeting in January. That's really what I need the answer to move forward with the team. And then we'll begin that whole meeting with them and have a transition. Or either way, even if it's the same team we had, there's the move from level 3 to level 2, different level of cleaning. The hours are going to change again. So we'll have to sit with any of the 3 teams and talk about how this works and make sure that they prepare for it.
Just so we're clear, I believe our deliberation on this contract is a public deliberation. It's not.
That's fine. So we can, if there's time to deliberate it, that's fine with me. I mean, it really comes down to your schedule and your. This is the information I shared last time, so I really don't need to go over it again. This was the summary page that I shared before. When you look at the hours that they once worked, 6:30 to 10:30, they were at 2.8 million before we reduced their staff to change the hours. We are looking at costs 2.8 from the old hours, now 2.4, 2.4, 2.5. I mean, the value of these bids are so close and all below what we were paying back in 15, 16 for the same hour. So we're actually, in very good shape. This process did prove to be, a positive process for that, even if we stay with the team that was here. But I think we need to give all these teams serious consideration. So with that, our first group is SSC.
Can I ask 2 questions on what we talked about already? Sure. The moving cost of moving the kids and material from Rightstown Elementary to Pittsburgh Middle. Is that incorporated in your budget? Because there's a $400,000 savings, I remember.
Yeah, I showed, but I showed that as an additional cost. Yes, I had some money in there.
There was also discussion about having a prep event at the Newtown Middle School prior to demolition. Have you connected with Gail?
We haven't talked about that. Definitely we need to go before summer, so yeah. I'm happy to work out any details with the team.
And there's also, I had some questions about purchasing lockers from the Newtown School. Do you have any resources?
We have a right to take things out of the building before they demolish it, so if there's a desire for us to, I don't know how easily they detach and what they look like when we try to take them apart, how many bags we together. And we certainly,
That's not bid into the reclamation?
the contractor said that we can take things out. I agree with you.
I mean, I know they were gonna sell a lot of, that was part of the bid, so I don't know.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Ed. If it's a couple lockers, I don't think they'll mind. If it's every locker, then they might have something to say, so I guess I need to know why.
Yeah, and I don't know how many people would be interested. There's a handful of people that
That's
say,
expensive.
they'd like to.
We did that at Penn Ridge. We did
Building
the
a house.
1919 Selkirk High School building, and we saved the auditorium chairs, and the community was going to buy them. And then there was a pile of chairs they figured out how to get rid of. You know, we sold a handful, and that was the end.
That may be the case.
A pile of bricks that never went anywhere. But it's certainly something.
Well, Grunge Rock concert in the stadium, in the auditorium will be teared down. Don't have to clean it up there.
So the only thing I'm gonna ask of my fellow board members is, when we do these, let them finish before we talk to them or pound them with questions. They're not used to presenting. I'm looking at you. Just, I mean, if you need clarifying questions, I'm not, but they're not used to the environment where they're peppered throughout. So we gave time after each one. So trying to be mindful of that, that's all I'm asking. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Are we gonna stick to the allotted time? So that
I think
everybody has the same?
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
20 minutes or 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna stick to the allotted 20 minutes. for them.
20 minutes?
20 minutes for them, and then 10 minutes for us to ask.
Yeah, if the board needs more than 10, that's,
If you want to use your own heads
No,
to
it's
figure
a
out.
half hour. They stay here for half an hour each.
okay.
Yeah, correct. If you want to use your own minds to figure out who you like and what you want to ask, that's perfectly fine. If not, I prepared these list of questions, with a sheet for each one of the companies. And the only company that has a different question one is Paramount, because they're already here. So their question is worded slightly different because they're already here. The others, plus they're they're already here, so it's,
All right, that's fine.
so the color for each one.
Who's shooting?
I get yelled at when I do that, so I'm not.
You want to keep time, Wendy?
I don't care.
Okay, go ahead, keep time.
And I'm gonna hit a thumb drive each time that has to plug in, so it works.
Okay.
Okay. You guys just.
Hello.
Good, thanks.
He said he'll tell you which file.
Now you look familiar. I didn't have any context. I don't know. You were here with us last time. Now
I can move.
None of that.
I was moving down.
That's okay.
No.
I was gonna slide down a little bit, yeah. but They can have it on the table if they'd like.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, before you speak, the meeting is recorded and it's actually broadcast live, so you can be. So you're aware of that.
It gets a little tricky. Yeah, yeah. Little guy brings up.
You make that sound much easier than this.
Thank you.
Make it look easy.
Yeah.
It's less than
Pick on the motorcycle.
Gentlemen, you can sit at the table. We moved down so you can
Oh.
be here and
Yeah, please.
make a conversation of this.
One more time.
So we're gonna stick to the format, 20 minutes of presentation, 10 minutes of questions and answers. So, thank you for being here tonight, Matt and your team. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
I'm gonna see what's on that, I know.
You ready to get that?
Yep.
Good evening, everyone. We are SFC Services for Education. My name is Matt Cooter. I'm Regional Sales Director. Been with SFC a little over 28 years. And all my time has been involved, all my time at SFC, has been involved in K-12 from an operational perspective as well as a sales perspective. And you can go ahead and, you have a clicker?
Is my clicker gonna work?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah, and the left and right arrows there.
So tonight I'm going to introduce to you our team. We're going to talk about some things that are important to you, at least I hope that are important to you, and we'll get some clarification on that. Who SSC is and why we think it's important that you partner with SSC. So I've introduced myself, and I'll let the rest of the team introduce themselves.
Good to see you folks again. Val Emery, I'm the Regional Vice President for SSC. I cover K-12 East, so if you kind of think of the Mississippi River dividing the country, I'm everything to the east. Don't have something in every state yet, working on it, but I've been in the business a little over 20 years, last 16 have been with Compass Group, and looking forward to the opportunity to work with them.
I'm Chris Patton. I'm a resident regional manager for SSC. I cover basically the greater Philadelphia market, with helping out with operations and sales in a support role. Recently, I've done the startups at Quakertown School District as well as Garnet Valley School District, and I'm overseeing those operationally. I've been in the facility services business for about 25 years, so I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a chance to work with all of you.
How you all doing this evening? My name is Jarvis Blessed. I'm project manager for SSC. I've been with SSC for about a year now. And one of my roles is doing startups and working, challenging the transition accounts that we have. And one of the things that I've also been through is Congress Group offers MIT program that I just graduated from. So, and hopefully I'll be you all's new unit director.
Thanks, guys. So again, thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to present this evening. This opportunity is very important for us. As Chris mentioned, we're trying to grow our footprint in Pennsylvania. Historically, before we were associated with Compass Group, we were a regional company in the southeastern United States. And we hadn't spent that much time in Pennsylvania. In the last couple of years, we've started growing this market. So we're really excited about this. But it's important for us to get this right. And in order to do that, we had to do a lot of due diligence in this whole process. We wanted to make sure we had the right solution at the right price. And during this process, we visited all the sites. During those site visits, we talked with some administrators, lots of maintenance team workers, to get some insight. We attended the pre-proposal conference, and we developed some criteria based off of those things. And wanted to go over those with you. We want to prove that we're a qualified partner, that safety and security of students and staff is priority number one in public education. We have an experienced management team. We're going to provide a high quality program based on the specifications at Apple Level 2. The importance of a seamless and customized transition plan. Our specific K-12 specific quality assurance plan and other best practices that we have. Now, because our time is limited tonight to 20 minutes or so, we need to make sure that we stay focused and on task. Is there anything that you all would like to add to this list that we need to discuss to make sure you get what you need out of this meeting? No? Is there anything that we can skip? Okay. Doug? You good?
You're good?
Okay. So keep in mind this presentation is for you guys. It's a high-level presentation, so if you have any questions at any time, feel free to chime in. Being mindful that we do just have a short, very short 20 minutes. So let's get into it. SSC is part of Compass Group. You guys are probably at least somewhat familiar with Compass Group because of your food service providers, Chartwells. We are sister companies with Chartwells. We are completely separate operating entities, but we all bundle up in the Compass Group. As a member of Compass Group, we are privileged to be able to benefit from leveraging their size and resources. Compass Group has over 1,000 educational partners through all the brands, SSC, Chartwells, Latitude, Flick Dining, and canteen operating divisions. Besides being a really big company, which is the 5th largest employer in the world, this offers opportunities for our management team for cross development, cross-sector development. It keeps our managers fresh if they so choose to. I'm like a dinosaur, I've been in the same company for 28 years. But it keeps our managers fresh, allows them to develop different skill sets, and it offers them the opportunity to have lifelong careers with companies in different operating sectors if they so choose. So who is SSC? What do we do? Well, prior to our association with Compass Group in 2010, we did a lot of different things: regional shopping malls, owned business, owner-occupied, as well as education. Once we were acquired by Compass Group, they said, hey, we want you guys to focus solely on education, which is exactly what we do. We only provide service to K-12 and higher ed institutions. That is it. Our K-12 people only focus on K-12, and our higher ed teams only focus on the higher ed. I want to be clear about that. So we provide services to 75 public K-12 and independent school districts right now. And our 3 lines of service: custodial, grounds, and maintenance. Some we do all 3, some just one service. We currently maintain over 150 million square feet on a daily basis, 7,500 acres, both regular grounds and athletic fields. All the programs we develop for our 120 clients, they're all customized. They're all based on individual needs of the client. So if there's something that's specific to you guys, we really want to know about it so we can really hone in on it, which allows us to reach that client retention rate of 98%. That's unheard of. And again, we've been in business since 1969. So a big part of this deal is the labor involved in getting the project done. We're looking at APA-2 guidelines, and excuse me, we want to talk a little bit about the methodologies that we use to come up with this. And a big part of it is the experience that we bring to the table. Our 48 years in business, my 28 years, Val's 10 years in this business, a couple of other operators' experience in K-12, and our experience with APA-2 guidelines, and really having a good understanding of what it takes. We also have standardized processes, like our quality assurance program, training program, using the most effective and efficient supplies and equipment. Helps us get better, faster, stronger, and all those good things. We also look at the age and condition of the facilities, the type of facilities, whether it's a high school or an elementary school, type of floor coverings and whatnot. So we crunch all those things together, and that's how we came up with the staffing. And this is one of the options, Doug, and that's another option. So, and we've also broken it up into 8 and 9 hours and work with supervision. And you guys will probably have some more detailed questions on that later. But it's important to know that the staffing model that we utilize is based on certain 12-month employees and 10-month employees. So why is that? Well, over the years, we found that for us, we are most effective, and it's efficient, and it's cost effective for our clients when we do it that way. We don't have a lot of people sitting around. Certainly during the summertime, there is a tremendous amount of work to be done. Detail work, we get it. But we need to be lean and not stepping all over each other all the time.
I think it's important to point out on the proposed staffing. The number you see down on the right, 584, I think was about 90 something on the previous slide. We feel that that's the right mix of hours in the day, if you will, to do the job. We don't want you to get hung up on the fact that you see specific hours at different schools. We can fluctuate that. You know, it may not necessarily take 20 hours at Council Rock or one high school. Maybe it's 18 during the day, and we can move 2 more back. But we feel that based on the specs that you outlined in the RFP, that this is the right mix of hours in the day to get the job done.
I also want to make another point. If you look, Doug, when you look at the options, the 9 o'clock start time versus the 6:30, you'll notice for us that the day porter or the day time is the same. But in the nighttime is where we've got the increased hours, and basically we push the day forward, and we'll bring some other folks in to help wrap up the afternoon and provide some continuity between day and evening shift. A lot of times that's where things are lost, when there's no communication from day to evening. And you get the us versus them kind of mentality, and it's not a great setup. So once we have our staffing in place, that's just one piece of the puzzle. That's part of the customized program. But the startup and transition at that point is the most important piece of all of this, because if you don't get it right the first time, you're not going to get it right. It's going to be awful. So we've got our customized program. During the startup and transition phase, and we'll go into this in a little more detail in a second, we're bringing supplies and equipment, we're bringing our management team in, we're bringing our stat team in, which is our startup and transition team, which is part of the extra management we're going to have on the front end of this deal to make sure all these things happen, such as our onboarding, background checks, making sure staffing is in place, training, and implementing our quality assurance program. So this is just a small piece, this Gantt chart, a small piece of our startup and transition plan. And it's not really customized at this point. Once we get a potential award, we can meet with Doug and his team, we can finalize this program with dates, key stakeholders, and whatnot. But this list actually has at least 100 processes on it, most of which you and your staff and the building administrators will never even see or care about. But they're back office things, ordering supplies, setting up duty lists, and whatnot. But rest assured, during the whole process, our team is being held accountable for each of these KPIs, and will communicate our progress through the whole thing. This is to make sure that we're on task. Our startup doesn't start day one of the contract. It actually starts the day we're notified of an potential award. And most of these items are pre-startup.
Yeah, I'll point that out. There's no way to possibly do a smooth transition without doing it before go live. So there'll be a flurry of activity, obviously, with the support of the on-site team. But realize we're talking about two different things happening at the same time. So, sure, we'll be fortunate enough. Jarvis will be here worrying about the day-to-day. He'll be talking to the principals. He'll be talking to you guys. He'll be training staff. The stat team will be here doing all of that busy work. It's necessary work, but there'll be no way we can get him up and going without that team.
So part of this whole process is to make sure our employees are trained properly, so they can do the job that we've asked them to do effectively. Part of that is making sure they understand how to use the equipment, how to effectively use the chemicals so we don't have injuries, allergies, or anything of that nature. Making sure they have the right job skills, proper techniques. We have on-the-job training as well as web-based training that they can take part in. Make sure that they understand what's going on. Then we also have customer service training where we talk to them about how to communicate with the district staff when it's appropriate, and how to handle building patrons. And then finally, the safety training that we provide, OSHA-based training, ASCOM, asbestos awareness, bloodborne pathogen, all that good stuff, as well as injury avoidance for not only themselves, but for building occupants as well. So for this piece, it has something to do with the safety and security piece that we talked about. For the 11,000 students, the 2,500 staff members, for us, they're priority number one. We're acutely aware of all the dangers and concerns there are with safety in public education. And that doesn't mean just how to sweep them off the floor. It's window lock windows, window lock doors, and those items are building specific, because every administrator has a different routine, and we want to follow those to a T to make sure that we meet their individual needs. I mentioned earlier that we're performing the required background check, background checks. We have a customized standard operating procedures to make sure that we're performing all the duties accurately, properly, safely. and safety and risk management teams that we have. We use a third-party vendor to do our safety inspections, so they're not influenced by our operational teams, and those reports go straight to the president of our company. So we make sure that we're providing a safe work environment, safe learning environment for all the documents.
The county level also incentivized or penalized based on safety inspections. So there's skin in the game for everybody.
Nice to hear.
Yeah.
So we do the training piece because it's important to have engaged employees. Just a little over a third of the workforce out there is actively engaged in their job. That's pretty sad. Equally or more sad than that is 17% of the workforce, not just our workforce, but the entire workforce, is actively disengaged. This is based on the Gallup poll. Disengaged. So they're actively working against their employer. So that's why we train our employees to make sure they have the right tools to be successful. Additionally, we provide benefits for our employees. Affordable Care Act, qualified medical plans are all three gold, silver, bronze. 401k plan, life insurance, long-term, short-term disability, flexible spending accounts, as well as vision accounts. So they can participate in all of those, as well as PTO. Additionally, this is one of Fal's favorite things, is we've got a little employee marketplace where they can get discounts from Verizon, Home Depot, Ford, Walmart.
The thing too for me, I talk about it at every onboarding with new staff. I mean, I've got a family of 6 now, 4 kids. 5 of us have cell phone plans through AT&T, so you smile and you know where I'm going with it. 25% discount through AT&T on service and supplies. I mean, come on, this time of year is even great.
So all that's designed to help out with employee engagement. It's important. And the last piece, excuse me, is our quality assurance program. It's designed for K-12. We actually use a program called Intelligent. It's a web-based program. It's designed for inspections and work order system. It provides extensive reporting, customized reporting that we would share with you. And we could even give you access, login access, so you can see that stuff real time. And automatic reports to you. In addition to the quality assurance inspections that we provide, on a monthly basis, we provide to the building administrators or their designee a satisfaction survey. So we email it to them, they just complete it, it comes directly to us, and we share the results with you also. So the Clean Intelligence stuff is introspective. We grade ourselves. The client surveys are feedback that we get from the building principals. It's a snapshot.
Or administrators. We've had them pass them all the way down to teachers, but the more feedback we get, the better we can get. Obviously, this is probably one of my favorite pieces. To be able to look at the data and compare how you see us and how we see us is really telling, right? We need to be a little more critical on ourselves, be delivering quality service. But Clean Intelligence, we decided to go to as a company. Anybody can go out and get it. But the work that we put in behind the scenes to develop the questions, they're all based on the APA scale, so there's no guessing. The really neat thing is that you can upload pictures. So as I go through, I look at it on my phone as well. I can go through and do an inspection with the team, take pictures of what's unacceptable. So there's no guessing around it. I mean, the picture's what it is. And then it's the same thing with the principals or designees. So it's a pretty neat.
And also part of our quality assurance program is we start out with some initial benchmarking. So we do a facilities condition assessment. We see where they're at currently, and we compare it to the desired level of services. We have consistent assessments, so we're doing daily, weekly, monthly inspections. We're measuring them and tracking them and reporting these inspections. And then we share that information with Doug or whoever we decide, or you all decide. And then they also roll it into the joint quarterly reviews.
A couple of things, I can talk about it, but a couple of things on here. Facilities condition assessment is used for us. It's a way to benchmark the initial. So you remember I talked about the pre-start and the stat team that comes online. They're doing the facilities condition assessment day one. They're talking to our users. They're talking to staff. They're looking at safety issues. They're taking pictures. They're rating things on the Atlas scale. And we packaged it up in a nice bound document because a year from now, we want to be able to show where we were and where we are. We're all real busy, and we tend to forget what was going on a year ago and why we're where we are. So, and then the weekly reports, you know, and as I see it, Doug, it'll be a direct report. You get a report every Friday of what is important, what's going on that week, what we're doing, and where we are. Much communication as we possibly do.
I think it's impossible for us to in this type of scenario. So why partner with SSC? I think we try to prove that we're a leader in the marketplace. We have over 45 years of experience. We focus solely on educational institutions. We're focused first and foremost on the safety and security of the students and staff in each facility. We have an experienced management team that's focused on K-12. Keep in mind that our management team is district-based. They will live here. We actually have 2 unit directors, so regardless of one of the unit directors, we'll have another unit director as well. But they're district-based. They live here. They're solely focused on this account. They have no other responsibilities. They would be supported by Val and Chris. Our quality, the program quality is based on Apple Level 2, so the staffing methodology was based on our experience in business, 45 plus years, as well as the Apple standards and the other criteria that we learned through the site visits. We've got a seamless transition plan that's customized to the school district. Our quality assurance plan is K-12 specific, as well as the other best practices through our benefits programs, our training programs, and whatnot. We feel confident you can't find a more qualified partner. And we want to prove it to you just as though we've done with our other clients. So my goal tonight was to prove that we're the right client for you guys and answer the questions, any questions you may have. So have we been able to fill in some of the gaps for you guys so far?
I think we have to move to the question.
Sure. I was just going to say, we're going to move on to,
That's great.
so, fellow board members, fire away.
So, of the 4 of you, which one has been most closely attached to a school district now with closest supervision, I would imagine?
What do you mean close? I mean, the 3 of us are operating, so if you're talking
So,
day-to-day operation,
well, let me give you the example, which I want to understand. Things happen in the K-12 environment. 2 things sometimes happen. One, we have a contagion, where we have an incident where someone has been in the school who has a contagion, and we have to address that, or we have a flooding. We have a roof problem or something. Tell me about a time, specifically, one of those things happened, you guys had to get activated. Tell me how that worked out, and what was your role?
I can give you one that just happened to me 2 days ago. A boys' locker room in the high school down in Garnet Valley School District. Kids were roughhousing, doing whatever they do, and they knocked off the sprinkler head and flooded the entire basement, fitness room, all the locker rooms. We mobilized a team over there within 10 minutes. I was there, along with, folks I called that were stationed at the high school, as well as supervisors from the other schools. And, we had the wetbacks out. We had everything cleaned up within 45 minutes. And I'm not exaggerating that. I mean, we did. Does it always go that smoothly? We like to hope so. But that was one that was a success story for us because, I got a pat on the back from the principal and the superintendent because we did it very quickly. Alarm went off when that happened at the sprinkler head, so they evacuated the school when all the kids were outside. So it was a bit of a cluster, and we were able to come in there and provide a solution quickly, and I think it'll go a long way that they saw we can do that. So that's the type of thing we do, and it's all communication based. We all have iPhones, Conference provides. We can mobilize very quickly. Our supervisors all have phones, so it's just a matter of developing those lines of communication, and who's the first person to get called in the event of a situation like that. And we'll set that up, so you guys know who to call, and we'll hit the ground running.
So let me ask a quick question. We, in the proposal, we specifically asked for a team leader day and night in each school that can clearly and effectively communicate with our staff in each one of those buildings. So they're kind of the building lead in each facility. How can you ensure you'll have them as well as the other, a total of almost 50 to 60 FTEs by July 1st? How do you go about getting all the people you need to fill these buildings
My
up?
question.
Yeah,
Okay.
we restart situation again. So you say go, we talk with you when we come down, and first we want to talk to folks that are already here. We're not guaranteeing jobs to anybody. Everybody has the ability to apply. And we also want to talk to you guys about who's done great and who hasn't done great. Because that's some institutional knowledge, first of all. We're going to hire from the district, or from the community. So you'll see ads in the paper, you'll hear it on the radio, you'll hear these guys talk about it. I'm sure you will get some interest from other districts as well. We'll shamelessly take good folks. And then we overhire to a degree to build what we call a subpool. Does it always work as smoothly as I'm saying? No, but we've never stopped hiring, literally. I mean, he's got an ad out now, stays up. Because we know the cyclical nature of the employees that we have. Can't always guarantee we'll be at 50 or 60, but we're always trying to be at 50 or 60.
I just know how challenging it is for the district when we're down 6 FTEs.
Sure.
You're borrowing from one school to help another, and that school's suffering. And I know, you'll do the best you can, but that's when we start to see the challenges.
I think the timeline you guys have laid out is good. You're giving them a couple of months. I'm not sure exactly, but I think I saw 2-3 months ahead of actual start date.
February to July 1st.
So to give the award.
Yeah,
And
that's a year.
that's much appreciated. All of our competitors and us will tell you that. The more time up front, the better. You know how it is with the DA standards for background checks. It's not a quick process by any means, but I'm very used to it. And I know it has to be done. So that's one of the first things we do is as many employees that we think are capable and qualified, get them cleared. That's one of the first things we do.
What's your recruiting advantage?
We do everything online. So we tap all of the job boards, Indeed.
I'm sorry, for the candidate. If I'm going to interview with you or
Yeah.
somebody else, why would I come look for you?
Because I'm a nice guy.
Get 25% off.
Typically, 80% of people take the job because of the person they interviewed they liked. Fair enough. So,
Recruiting advantage. I think our reputation in the marketplace is pretty strong. We've got clients that we love to talk to sometimes, but that's the nature of the business. But we also have a lot of very good clients. And we also have the ability, as Matt said, for those informal leaders to kind of have a career for life. I mean, you're looking at an MIT graduate. We spend a lot of time with Jarvis and those like him. We've got several. You're talking to one that came from the healthcare side to the education side. There are opportunities, literally, for life that you can't get with, our competitors. I don't understand what I'm saying.
And that's not just for management employees, it's for hourly and frontline staff. So if you get tired of working with SSC in Henry County, Georgia, you can move up here, or you can move to work for Croft Hall, or you can go to Wrigley Field to serve beer for Cubs games if that's what you want to do. I mean, Compass Group has over 600,000 employees globally in 50 countries. There's a lot of opportunity there. And back to the recruiting question, I think they're hiring, Compass Group as a whole, hiring 60,000 people this year because of new growth. We're growing about $1 billion a year. Actually, this year is 1.4 billion in new revenue. So it's a lot of people. So it's a huge organization.
Pretty huge.
So let me ask one more question, kind of in follow-up. So in July, we have 15 schools that need to be totally clean, waxed, ready for, the end of August. So not only are you finding these people and bringing them on board, now they have to acclimate to the schools, you have to train them, and they have to have those buildings ready, and we're working around summer camps and construction. How does all that happen?
A lot of planning.
A lot of conversations. The good thing is it's not unique for us. I mean, I think sometimes when we talk to districts, they're in their world and they think that although the culture is very unique, the process that happens every summer is not unique for what we do. So these guys are in the trenches. I mean, you will see that you won't see a suit and tie, you'll see, jeans or whatever, because they're stripping and waxing, they're lifting and pulling and tugging. So it's not unique. And then, you were kind of mentioning, some of the moving earlier when we were talking in the other room. That's some of the advantage that we can bring as well. I mean, we experience that on the higher ed side as well as the K-12 side. We can make a couple phone calls and get some help too. Whether it be from Garnet Valley or whether it be from Quakertown or whether it be some additional staff folks during the summer. When we see the need, we address it. And the best thing about it is I'm not going to come back to you and say, hey, I need a couple more dollars. Because the price that we go is the price that we go.
It's 30 minutes.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Thank
All
you.
right, guys.
We're trying to be fair.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
meet you. All right.
Thank you.
Matt,
Take care.
did you get your thumb drive?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Guys, thank you.
Our building engineer many years ago used to be an MIT guy.
Yeah.
Always.
No, that's impressive.
McCullough used to always have a full beaver.
We're gonna start talking.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right.
Happy holidays.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, I'll go get
Sure.
the next group. You ready?
Yep, ready.
Thanks again.
Aren't those mugs the best? I've got 3 of them now, and I love them.
Someone gave me a
Oh, it's
Pelican
late.
one.
I didn't have time to get coffee.
I keep getting them.
I have
Someone gave me a Pelican one. It's 35.
It's not hot.
What's Pelican?
Same
It's like a case, it's the same building, case
Oh my God.
weapons and things.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Can I get it?
It's, her husband distributed it. That's what she gave me. It's like, it showed
No,
up
because
in the
I
outlet.
brought them
It's
to
like-
the office. Because I don't think it's- That's right.
All right.
We're gonna have another one anyway.
That thing's
Hello.
great.
Good, how are you? Come on in, sit down.
Right up there, it's fine.
Whatever you like.
All right, good. Thank you. You guys, I have a clicker once you get. Okay, great.
We tell you as well, the meetings are recorded, they're actually being broadcast as we speak.
Okay.
And what we're gonna try and do is we'll give you 20 minutes to talk, 10 minutes per question. We're trying to be fair with everybody. So that's
Great.
That's how we're gonna work it. So.
Fantastic.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
If you wouldn't mind passing this around. Thank you, sir. Just in case you prefer.
Send them this way.
Well, absolutely, I haven't caught there before, and that's all. There's one more?
Oh, yeah, no.
Well, it's so nice to see you, everybody, tonight. We've been really looking forward to this opportunity. We're very thankful for the opportunity to come in and actually participate.
Last one.
Thank you.
And you, first of all, we want to thank you for the opportunity to be invited in here. Means a lot to us, your business. You're a long-term partner of yours since 1999. And we feel we have a great relationship here. So tonight we have a few slides to go over with you, just to show the value of our program, in case you may or may not be familiar with it. I have my compadres here. We're going to introduce them in a moment. And, but again, we just really wanted to thank you for the opportunity. I'm hoping that this will turn into a little bit of a discussion too as well. So if you would like to stop us in the middle of the presentation, please feel free to do so. And thank you very much for your time. So, if you would mind, sure.
I'm Rick White. I have the privilege of working here at Council Bar.
and I'm the person who's responsible for delivering our commitments.
Hello, I'm Alex Boland. I know a couple of you in the room. I am the district manager, so I support Rick in his day-to-day operations. Anything he needs to be successful, that's what I'm here for. I'm also a communication point for Doug to make sure that we're performing on the outcomes.
And my name is Steve Weiser. I have operating responsibility for our relationship with Council Rock. And I've had the privilege, as Bill says, of working with Council Rock for a while. And I think what we're most proud about is that we are the team that's accountable for everything we make our commitments about today. And so what we say we are going to do, we are accountable to deliver upon.
Great, and I'm going to load on my role basically is client satisfaction and retention. And I get involved with some of the bits just to help facilitate that process along. And to reiterate what Steve says, Steve's the guy. And it's really glad he's here. If you have some questions, we can really dig into. So thank you. So the next slide, think about, even from our perspective, when we think about your community, we don't just think of it as an account, as a bid. When you really think about goals, this is our professional life. We care about this. Rick cares. It's been really nice to see him get to know Rick on the account. The people are like family, and they view your place like family. And it's really important to us that we have a shared goal, and we actually really do here. Not all things, not in all accounts you have that congruency, that mesh. But here it's really interesting. And you know what? Your staff, your students, they deserve the very best. They deserve really clean facilities. Nothing but the best, really. And so we're going to talk about our program, a little bit about staffing and all different levels. So Alex, do you mind?
Yep. So just a brief little overview of our agenda that we're going to cover this evening. Oh, that's a little bit outside the.
Is it only on PDF or is it on the
font change? Yeah, a little bit of a different view there. But so this is just about our history with council. So we've been a partner with you for 18 years, and we're really, really glad and proud of that partnership to be with you. We have some employees here who have been here for quite a while. A number of them have been here for over 10 years. Really shows some deep, strong roots within the district. We know that our relationship hasn't always been perfect, as a lot of relationships aren't perfect. But especially for the last year that I have been here, what I've seen is our ability to really collaborate and partner with the district to work through any obstacles that come through to make sure that we're mutually successful and move forward together. One of those examples I want to highlight is last year in 2016. We worked together to save the district $500,000. That wasn't easy. It caused a reduction of FTEs. But over 18 years, cleaning systems, procedures, they change. So we're able to kind of work through some program enhancements. Rick was relatively new at that time, so through his leadership, we were able to make that successful and not suffer any negative impact to the performance outcomes. A little bit about our Airmark program. So it's an integrated, comprehensive approach. It starts out with scheduling, which I'm going to touch on in a little bit, but it's a scientific approach to scheduling that takes into account a lot of our equipment. And then our Quantum Loop program. Our Quantum Loop program has to do with floor care, space care, and touchless care. And especially the floor care and space care, they are microfiber based. Microfiber is a much healthier, more efficient, and safer cleaning system that we use. And that would be one of the things that we would heavily invest in to move the district towards microfiber because everybody benefits from that. Following the microfiber would be training of our employees. The Quantum Loop program has a very structured training system which we train our employees on to make sure that they're successful. Another addition to this proposal is leads in every building to follow up and make sure that those performance outcomes are met, whether it requires retraining, managing the employees in the building a little bit better to make sure that we achieve those outcomes. And then to button the whole program up is a quality control tool at the end. That's a handheld device. We're just going to go into that a little bit more. But it's a handheld device to make sure that we're meeting the outcomes by scoring. This is just kind of a visual of the integrated approach. So process-driven schedules, I mentioned the schedules were scientific. It starts out with taking an inventory of all the space, that's from dimensions, the space types, service types, putting that into the program, matching that with the right equipment, which is all timed out in a certain amount of time that it takes to clean that size space, that type of floor. And then it creates schedules to make sure that we're capturing all of the space that is necessary to ensure those consistent outcomes. And we're in the process of actually putting that in place. That schedule is actually one of the schedules for one of the schools. Some of the investments we have going forward, I mentioned the microfiber program. We're going to do $60,000 over the course of this new contract. So we invest in microfiber and also some new floor scrubbers. It's electrically charged H2O nanotechnology scrubber. What it does is it takes water, charges it electronically, and it cleans and sanitizes surfaces just as it would with chemicals, but it doesn't use any chemicals. So it's part of our blue cleaning program. All right, with that, I'm ready.
Okay, so how do we know how we're doing? How we evaluate our results? We utilize a IQC tool or quality assurance tool. It's mobile, it's web app driven, used on a handheld device, could be a tablet or could be a smartphone. It captures how we rate the spaces. So we go into a room, we'll evaluate its pass or fail, how are the ledges, how is the carpet, how are the windows, tabletops. So we use that to capture, and we capture all the space. It generates metrics. And we share those metrics with the others on a monthly basis. It's currently accessible. We calibrate the program by offering it to CRC officials. Both have access to the inspection tool, so they go behind the scenes, make sure that we're getting it right. They have that opportunity to do that. And we also generate electronic reports of different types. So here's just a sample. For last year, we did 3,317 inspections. And it tells you, for example, Churchville, goals are 28, average we're about 95%. And if you look at the very bottom, the mission score summary by area, that just gives you an idea of what percentage each of the spaces, how they share. And it rolls up by school, it also rolls up by district. So the other part of making sure that we're getting the results that we want is engaging the employees. And we do that by noticing their efforts, thanking them on the spot for a job well done, going through school and acknowledging the impact they're creating. We also have an opportunity to reward them on a national level through the Green Stars program. And we also celebrate their milestones with employee appreciation day. Several times a year, we pull them in. For example, in the summer, we pull them on and thank them for hard work that they've done over the summer, have a pizza party, and hand out some recognition awards. And we also celebrate their milestones as they become more and more tenured. 5 years, 10 years, we offer them a certificate in some cases.
If I could just cut in, sorry, I see some of you flipping. We had some last minute game day decisions, and we changed the order a little bit. So
same slide.
Same slide, just a little bit different order.
Well, so what this slide actually talking about is our non-resident experts. Basically, our headquarters is in Philadelphia. We have over 100 people that's dedicated just to our operations support of our program for folks in the field. So these people come out, they're out here quarterly, they do inspections, we call them our operational excellence group. You may have heard about their inspections. They come by and take a site report. And what they're really doing is making sure that we're following the program. And number two, they're also making sure that the level of cleanliness is really what we're saying it is locally. So it is kind of like internal affairs, so to speak, comes in, does a quick check, comes back to actually write a trip report. Steve gets a copy of it, I get a copy, Alan's. So we have this great team that goes around the country working on our accounts, supporting people like Rich. He's not alone. He's in the field. He's not an island. And the neat part is these folks are actually come up with the innovation ideas. So the electrical charged water system, that's from that group. So these experts go around, they look, see what's working, and then they come back and they say, we're going to pilot in this location. And they roll out. So we have a pretty robust non-resident staff team here in Philadelphia. And then the part where I got introduced in the account, which is something I really like to do, is attend what we call these client meetings. Every month or so, Rick, Doug, Tom, they sit down and they talk about the account. They talk about successes, the goals, try to do it in a transparent way. So we say, listen, we're struggling here, or we're getting back here. Try to have corrective action. They review, we brought one today, we weren't sure if you'd be interested, but we thought maybe just pass it around. But this is actually client business review that we sit down and we review, and it has all the metrics and the scores and challenges we have with staff. And the whole idea is that we're not just in a vacuum doing something, and we come back and our report. Anyway, which is great, it's like we hold us accountable in a month. Which does. So good, Michael. Which is good. And that's a real partnership, you know, and we need that level of support because we really want it to work. So when we transition back to staffing levels, Steve is going to take over.
All right. So we know that obviously program, staffing, leadership, they all work together. And certainly staffing has been a topic that has played on all of our minds, not just at Council Rock, but throughout our business and throughout the country. We looked at, we wanted to go back and look at where are we relative to where we said we would be. So where we stand right now, our standard staffing model is about 64. If we go back over the past 18 months, we've averaged 95% fulfillment against that. We've had a little bit of a challenge in the last couple of months. But we think that, you know, that's something we're facing throughout the economy. But more importantly, how will we address this as we go forward? Because we are raising our staffing numbers and we need to fill those vacancies that we have right now, as well as increase it. So we'll do that through an HR, through an overall staffing support model. We certainly have engaged, since we are local, we have our corporate headquarters staffing team working with us to fill these roles. We have certainly engaged with temporary agencies. We prefer not to use temporary agencies, but sometimes we have to. And the most critical aspect about using a temp agency is to get the right people. Background check, fingerprinted, we won't put anybody into the district unless they pass all the necessary state and Aramark background checks. But we have, between our numbers of accounts in Pennsylvania, a number of accounts in New Jersey, we are building up a temp staffing pool that we'll be able to utilize to fill in where we have gaps. We've also increased our compensation. We've done that now, not waiting until the next contract. And we also think that a model that you're considering going forward, which will take the people back to a 6:30 start, will also stabilize the workforce. We think that's an important aspect too. And then lastly, whenever you have an RFP process, there's a certain level of anxiety that comes into play. And I think that once we get through the anxiety level, we'll also see a stable workforce. We talk about our financials, to roll up what our financials look like. As Bill said, we've been a partner to the district for many, many years. We currently have almost $250,000 of equipment in use in the district. And we have an additional $60,000 to be invested principally towards microfiber and for electrically activated water. We do have, against the Council Rock preferred option, we do have the lowest 3-year cost. We have the highest number of staff hours of proposals which have been submitted. We include within our proposal on average 112 overtime hours per FTE with 69 people to be on the payroll. When we add in the overtime, which we have budgeted and planned in, it equates to almost 73 FTE. Our workday is based upon 8 hours. And I think most importantly from our standpoint, and hopefully from your standpoint, is we really have no startup, we really have no transition costs. It's a seamless move to go to the next model from where we are right now. You know, the processes that Alex talked about are processes which we're already implementing. And so to be able to roll over to the next model is something that we hope is transparent from an implementation standpoint, but it's very visible from an outcome standpoint. And then lastly, in our closing slide, we do want to allow a lot of time for question. And we really do think we offer the best value, obviously about pricing, staffing hours. One of the things that we feel very, very strongly about is full-time employees. We prefer not to use part-timers. We prefer not to use agency. As Rick talked about the longevity of the staff that we have in the district, that's what creates ownership. That's what creates accountability. And that's what creates predictability. We also know that our leads, which we will be putting into the buildings for the second shift, all have to be proficient in English, and we're working on to ensure that we are staffed accordingly with that. We do pride ourselves, everyone at Aramark now, going on 29 years, which is a long time. Sometimes I feel like it's longer than that or shorter than that. But the depth of our resources the depth of our program. We are the #1 K-12 facilities provider in Pennsylvania, in New Jersey, and in the United States. We have over 500 relationships, food and facilities. So we certainly have an in-depth knowledge of the K-12 marketplace. And more importantly, most importantly, I think for Councilor Rock is we are local. I'm an hour's drive away. He's less than an hour's drive away. He's an hour's drive away. You know, this is our home. This is where we live. We have a lot of executives, quite honestly, that live in the Council Rock School District and send their kids here. They're very proud of that. And if there is a dirt issue in the buildings, trust me, I hear about it. And so we're, you know, again, we're very proud to what we've done here. We think we put together, hopefully, a compelling proposal. We really want to be vested in your outcomes. And as Alex said, I think the beauty of a long-term relationship is you're never going to be always perfect, but the ability to work together and work through problems in a mutually beneficial way is, I think, really the hallmark of having a good relationship. So, you know, we thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. So, certainly like to address any questions.
Open the floor to the board. Questions?
So I'll start.
Or Doug.
Well, no one was saying
Fine,
anything. I guess the big thing is the transition from where we are today over the summer. So, and the other part of that is making sure that we have all the buildings covered. You talked about bringing people on board. And I know recently at our joint meeting, we talked about having, I think, 4 additional staff members onboarding in the near future. So I know we're getting closer to the number where we once were. So as you said, maybe that, you know, that dip was something that was just in a small time frame. So that's a positive. My one question though is we're looking for in all buildings, day and night, English, you know, effective communication. So, you know, a leader in each building, day and night, that the others report to. So I just want to make sure that that's something you've included in this.
We have included that. We also included the wage that we believe is commensurate to ensure that we have that satisfied. And we certainly have enough time now to be able to ramp that up too. So we're comfortable we can certainly satisfy that.
Okay.
Thank you.
One question I had was, we're going to an APA 2 versus what we were doing before. And I'm not faulting you for what we were doing before, but one concern, you have a crew, one concern with longevity is they're used to doing things this way. And that's not what we're bidding here. Do you have a plan in place to address that? You know, can you give a little?
So the plan that Alex pointed up. So we utilize our work order management system. It's called TMA. It's web TMA. It's not a proprietary system. It's a public system, but that is our preferred system. And so as Alex said, the interesting thing about developing programs between APA levels, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, is really about frequencies. It's about tasks, and it's about lining up the right training and equipment to be able to vary that. And so the tasks, it is not a very complicated process within our systems to essentially take, once you have buildings loaded in, you just essentially choose what APA level you want. It matches up what the time frequency should be. And we, in order to get to APA 2 and to get it on a consistent level, as well as do it in a cost-effective manner, that's why we're recommending it. Our program includes the microfiber. So microfiber is a lot faster. There will be no lock and bucket in the district. Forget, you know, lock and bucket is how you would clean yesterday. Lock and bucket is not particularly sanitary. We need to move to microfiber, whether we're going to APA 2 or quite honestly, if you're going to stay at APA 3 or wherever you are right now. So I think between the infusion of equipment and the introduction of the different staff levels, as well as changing processes, that's what will get us to APA 2. Now, the interesting thing is, as Rick pointed out, we all have on our phone the IQC app. I have it on my app. It's actually GPS based. So if I came in this room right now, which I'm here, and I turned on IQC, it would actually tell me exactly what room I'm in because the system knows that. And so the there are 15 different aspects to check, as Rick talked about, and those aspects correlate to an Apple level. So by any supervisor, so all of our supervisors are trained and have the app up and have the Go Spot Check app on their phone. So we have real-time data that says whether the buildings are complying with the expectations. So we have the QA process at the back end to ensure that the processes are executed on are delivering on outcomes.
And we do share that information with you, that data. Okay. And if you're interested, we can actually load you onto that tool, and you can rate the facilities as you go on.
I have a question. So you mentioned 3 things that I heard that you're implementing if we move forward with having you continue to service us. And the one is the microfiber. The second is
Electrically charged.
no, the scheduling program. And then the third was the electrically activated water. Why aren't we using them now, since you're our provider?
Well, we're using the schedules now. They're not just geared towards Apple level 2, they're geared towards the Apple 3. The electrically activated water, we're not using now, honestly, because it wasn't in the scope of the existing contract. And so it's additional capital investment. It's relatively new technology. It came out, we started introducing it into our accounts going back, I guess, about 3 years ago. The introduction of microfiber is a very, it's very capital intensive. And so I think the reset on the contract is really an opportunity for us to infuse it into the operations.
So if we just moved forward and not had done the RFP process, you would not have included these 2 components for us?
I believe we had conversations.
Right, we started the microfiber, but we just can't do it at the scale which, when we reset the contract, we started to try to institute that. And the blue cleaning, I know we had talked about blue cleaning.
That's electrically activated water.
Yeah, sorry. That we had talked about, we hadn't come to any. And it's only one year to 1 year to 1 year, so the investment was pretty expensive.
We amortized our investment over a number of years, and in having the 1 year options, it becomes hard for us to amortize the capital investment because it is very costly.
And I would just add, in fairness, the last 2 years have not been easy because we reduced their FTEs by 18 to save the money. And then the last year, we've been trying to kind of recover from that change, that reduction. So I think we're feeling some of that from those changes a little bit. So the last 2 years, there probably wasn't a whole lot of financial opportunity to add a whole lot of new stuff to the mix.
It would be challenging for us to expend $60,000 on a 1 year contract, but spreading it out over 3 years is what makes it viable for us to be able to infuse it.
So what's the timeline for implementation? If we moved forward with your organization, what would the timeline for implementation be to these other technologies?
This summer.
Okay, thank you.
Summer would be the best time to do that because you really want to be able to have everyone trained on the new schedules and on the equipment in time for school to open.
You good, Tom? You have anything?
No, that we have experience with this. The question I normally will ask, just so you know, is contagion and flooding and how you respond to that. We've had experience with you dealing with those things, so I was
We sure have.
leaving you out of it. Yeah. Well, you help clean up ceilings when they collapse.
So the lack of questions is not necessarily a reflection other than a history with so so we're fair and clear with that. So.
Good. I think that hits it right on the nose. Too.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
One more. Yeah.
Mike? Hey, you read. Well, it covers. I know they're expensive.
They are. Have a nice holiday. All right, take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more.
Are we going to deliberate about this after or no?
See, I think Doug left. Okay. It's certainly going to be public whenever we do it, so. Yeah.
Oh, sure. I'm tired.
Yeah.
You don't look that.
I don't look tired.
Wendy.
He's trying to see what he can pull out of his bag to make me not tired.
Chocolate? Yeah, good chocolate. Will that help?
Only because I didn't have dinner. Thank you, sir.
Yep. You're welcome, of course.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
You guys feeling nice and tired now? Janitorial is not the most thrilling, is it? It's kind of painful doing this evening.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, please. Table.
Right,
Bring up more chairs.
Out of people.
Here's this letter for you guys.
Should I hand out business cards?
Sure.
Oh,
If you'd like.
there you go.
We hand you out some cards.
Hello, how are you?
Sure.
Thank you.
Matt, when did we get this?
It's actually an evaluation job. I called them, Jerry brought in 510. And 810 wasn't, or 510 wasn't really good enough for your size, so I called Robert.
Thank you.
So we should have this, so I'll send you one to tell you.
That's just a power cord?
It's just narrative, and it's on each of it, USB cable and then audio.
So it's just Bluetooth?
Small work.
You have a hockey box.
Oh, all the time, yeah, absolutely. Well, this, the virtue of this is, the virtue of this is, if, as board members, he give us Google connections to it. So while the broadcast to YouTube, Google connection directly. And so if you're participating, you can speak up, it'll come through there, you'll hear through there, so it's,
What's the cost?
I think it's like $145.
See which one they like better.
Tip.
Remember the public our business card.
Google chat. I usually use links, Skype. Skype for business.
Interesting.
Are we ready to go? We're all ready. Let's go with the situation. We're good, okay.
Right at 9 o'clock, sorry, a little late, but you got it.
Hey,
Half an hour.
we got it in. Thanks, guys. My name is Bob Weller. Good evening. I'm the owner of Interstate Building Maintenance. I'd like to thank the board. I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to get us, to be here. And I know it's been a long journey, and I know everybody's kind of exhausted at this particular time. I've spent the last 30 years passionately improving the quality, health, safety, and cleanliness of institutions. Started the company out within Bucks County for the last 30 years, and everyone here is pretty much local with our organization. We could have had probably 20 people come out and show you who we are.
But we did.
We work in all the buildings around here. We work in the medical and the educational facilities. And my daughter is a product of Council Rock as well as many of the people that work within our office area. So I wanted you to know who we are, and we're all deeply committed to the community as well. Interstate is the area's largest provider of janitorial services. We have over 1,000 employees and over 300 that live just within 20 minutes of Council Rock, which is really, it's something to be said because it takes a long time to build up that type of infrastructure so that you have the quality in your recruiting efforts. This is an amazing business for us, and it's very meaningful business since it's right here in our backyard. We have our corporate office is located probably about 20 minutes away. We have maybe 25 or 28 very talented people that care deeply. Their kids, their families, Their neighbors, they're all involved in the Council Rock community. And this is meaningful business. We don't have a presenter that we fly in or, these are the people that you're going to see that are going to be responsible for the account, and you're going to see them every day. I'd like to take a couple minutes and just introduce our team.
So, good evening. My name's Janet Francis, and I'm the Business Development Manager for Interstate. I've been with Bob and the Interstate team now for going on 8 years.
Hi, I'm Kevin Weller. I'm the Executive Director of Operations. I've been with Interstate for 25 years, and it's my honor to be here tonight. This is meaningful to me because this is my community.
Good evening, Phil Estrada. I'm the Director of Operations, and I will be part of the management and transition team for the Council of Rock. And I just wanted to say that I've been working in this business for over 25 years. And I can say that Interstate has the most committed customer service company compared to other companies that I've been working with. And yeah.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew Casino. I'm an operations manager for Interstate. I've been with the company for over 10 years. I specialize in school management. My brother's been with the company for 20 years. My father's retired from this company. And on a personal note, my wife was a cheerleader at Council Rock. She was an 87 and basketball dresses.
Hi, I'm Rachel Weller. I heard someone down, I go, wow, there's a lot of trend in the letters here. I've been with the company now for 3 years, and I'm also part of the management team.
I'm John Matchin. I'm with the Rosenwell Company. We're a local janitorial full-time supplier, about 20 minutes from here. And I've been lucky and happy to support Bob and his team for almost 30 years.
Yeah, it's been 30 years, John.
With supplies, equipment, and any other resources we might need to keep his buildings clean.
And they're located right down by the old John.
So Interstate's been very proud to partner with many of the local companies and schools in the area. And a lot of these companies and schools that we work with, we've had the privilege of partnering with them for almost 30 years. I even have myself, for the 8 years that I've been with Interstate, I have the same clients. And I have that client loyalty and that great partnership. I think that says a lot when you can have not just team members, Interstate team members, but even some of our clients for the length of time that Interstate has had them.
I think you'll come to find with our company, we're very passionate about what we do. Our employees are very passionate about what they do. And what separates us from other janitorial companies is we have created this close-knit, loyal community. Our employees, they stay with us. So we've celebrated numerous work anniversaries. We go above and beyond to show our employees how much we care about them, whether that be recognizing their hard work through gift cards, gift certificates, even televisions. We make sure it's known, they know who we are, and they are proud of what we do. This picture here, actually, the Interstate Proud Board, we have a board where our office staff, as well as everyone out in the field, can send in shout outs just to congratulate people on their team that they're really proud to be working with. So we built a really strong culture around caring about what we do.
This is an important slide that I wanted to take the time to really talk to you about, because I think that this speaks volumes. As far as trying to make a choice for who has the best quality, I know that a lot of the numbers are relatively about the same, so I don't think that this is necessarily price driven quite as much. It's probably more who's best suited to lend the benefits that Council Rock's looking for. Who has that quality? Who has the team? Who's got the resources on the ground to be most successful? Because this is an important entity, and you want to see this happen. Let me kind of explain to you some of the thoughts that I had with what was going on here. I think that we were the only ones that actually listed accurate numbers and full transparency when it came to, when you look at these numbers and how they came about. We have 10 supervisors versus, say, an Airmark that has 3 supervisors. I don't think you can be successful in just having 3 supervisors. Management is probably the most important thing that you can provide. That's the leadership. That's what people rally around. And you got a lot of square footage to cover. It's not easy to do that. We're local versus international. We're not a $1 billion player like the other couple of guys are. This is it. This is our bread and butter. We don't make you a grilled cheese sandwich. We don't do any of the other things. This is all we do. This is our focus on hiring the best people, and we really screen them and vet these people very, very well. What in comparison with our numbers, versus some of the others, for example, for us between like us and SSC, they only have 124,075 hours. We're putting in 11,125 more hours a year, every year. So that's like 1,000 hours more a month that we're putting in, which is really 6 full-time employees. It's significant value. When their numbers were done, you look at, they stayed at 68, and it's really like 59 or 60, because they used and skewed the numbers to be, or everybody's working 35 hours, and you're not going to be successful in hiring 35 hours. So it's really not those numbers. Where Aramark has 69 FTEs, and if you do the math, you go 2,080 hours, which is what everybody should work as a full-time employee. It really works out to 143 by 20 hours versus 151. I didn't understand that. When we put ours together at 65, we worked out to 135 too. They're the accurate numbers. And if you look at Airmark, they're at 1575 an hour. I find it very, very difficult. And we have well over 300 people in Bucks County. We can't provide that service for that number. What happens is it's less qualified and higher turnover. And I don't think in the schools where you're vetting the people properly that you can be successful at that number. They're currently at a 3, and I know your intention is to get to a 2. I'm going to go as far as to say I think that we can get you to a 1. I really feel very strongly that we can change this based upon our experience with other school districts, that we're at the right dollars. You have it. I want to see you get the value of what you're looking for. Where, the other group that really doesn't have the local representation, they're up at 1912 an hour. And I know those dollars are going back to these billion-dollar companies. And 90% of the dollars, over 90%, are going directly back into Council Rock. This is where we'd rather have your business for the next 10 years and make less profit margin and be able to reward our employees and our staff for doing so. Did I cover everything on that slide? Does everybody understand that? Because I know that that's an important slide when you're making your determination for value. I wanted to share a very brief story. When I started out earlier, we've been doing this for 30 years. I started the company myself from the ground up with just myself and a handful of people. So we've grown immensely over 30 years. I prepared to go out and look and go to these other customers and prospects. And I had a large, very, very, very large account, and the person wanted to come over and see it because they wanted to be part of, working with us. So we went and looked at this, one of the sites that I had, and I took the group over and I signed them in. They wanted to see something that was very similar, and they wanted to see the quality of work. We went in, and to make it a shorter story, he just wanted to see, and the group just wanted to see the janitorial closet. And I thought, I worked very, very hard. I put extra hours in to see everything else that was there. I wanted to make the restroom shine. We waxed the floors and we shampooed the carpets, and the place would look fantastic. And he went in and he said, "Let me see the janitorial closet." And he went in, looked at it, and it looked perfect. All the equipment's lined up the way that it should be, chemicals, products, what we were using. He turned and said, "You got the job." And I said, "You don't want to see the rest of the building?" He said, "No, I don't need to. If you can keep this organized, I know you're the right group for our organization." And it was a lesson that I learned very early, that you have to, expect the things that are unexpected, but you have to train and empower your people to do the right thing every day. And you can tell a lot by just how people keep their closets. When you're asking people to take ownership of their area. Who's rushing through, who cares, and who doesn't. I've been holding my cards up for 30 years, and it does say the company that cares. And I want people to know that it starts at the top and it goes all the way through. Everybody that works for us feels the same way. You're going to get a group that's completely different than a national group for a lot of different reasons. And, we reward people very, very highly for what they do. It's a tough job. I think they deserve to make a little bit more money. And you don't see the turnover. You see people that are very grateful to come to work every day. And that's what I think this is what the school district needs. Time and attendance, I'm only going to take a second on this. If you don't measure this by accountability for each of the areas, you're not going to be successful. And if you look at this, if you lose 15 minutes a day on each of the employees, you're losing over $50,000 a year in unproductive labor. We're very, very careful about how we spend school board's dollars. And there's accountability all the way through. Wow, this is Springport School District. And then the picture on the left is Council Rock. You see that a lot goes into our core care programs. And I can't say enough about the way that we train our team, the products that we buy, and the time and the effort that we put into this, because this is the impression when you have the parents and you have other people that come in, the visitors, this is the appearance that you want to see throughout Council Rock. This is what we can bring to Council Rock. I know that the other groups that just don't have these local resources and the training aspect and the support from Phil Rosenthal Company that comes out in droves to help train our people the right way to do things, so that you don't see things on the baseboard or the lockers. There's no splash marks. This, Andrew, was this work done in July?
The floor on the right was actually stripped and waxed in July. This picture was taken 2 weeks ago. Because at Interstate, we have a restoration program that we do monthly. And basically, once a month we go through, we restore all the waxed floors, and that is pretty much how it will look for the rest of the year. Also, in the summer, we don't have to strip and wax the floors because we keep them in such nice condition. Every third or fourth year, we'll go through and do a strip system. But basically, we go and do a top scrub. We do a strip wax, and we do a top scrub wax. But the restoration that we use.
You maintain it at a high level all year round. This is the way it should look.
Are those both tile floors, or is that terrazzo at Springport?
That is actually it's a tile, like it's a vinyl floor.
Continuous.
Yeah.
And the one on the left is a tile.
Correct.
The one on the right is a continuous sheet.
Yeah.
And we put our floor care program up against anybody out there in the industry. There's not one that has the resources or the training that we do. Floor care.
What school is that, do you know?
It's north.
The key here is, most floors after you strip and wax in the summer look nice. But we want this to look like this throughout the year. So you don't have that high point in the summer and then November, December, January, they start to go down. We like to keep it at this level, and that's what separates us from a lot of our competitors, the overall quality year round.
This slide is basically Andrew will help inform us and others within our organization. We get the support from Bill Rosenwald Company. I know that you have these things, and you have these flu and the cold viruses, and you need support. We'll go out and find an area, a school, a gym area, locker rooms, wherever you're seeing like you're having this issue, we'll have this. We'll have it on site, and we'll be able to perform this. After you do the system, it gets under the chair, the legs, under the desk, every area that you would possibly touch is taken care of, and it only takes us maybe 5 or 10 minutes to do that.
7 minutes of question. And if I could interject, I have a real quick story. A few weeks ago, I got a call from my customer at Baldwin. I do Baldwin School, and we actually have a winter program with them to do the whole campus. I received an email at 10:30 at night, and my customer said that one of the teachers was diagnosed with C. diff, and they had to have the building completely disinfected on Monday morning. I was there at 8 o'clock the next morning. Down the building took me 25 minutes. And with the chemical in the system we use, you can basically walk back in that room within 5 minutes.
And that's one of the added values that we would bring into the school district. I think it's wonderful to have something like this.
And the fact that it electrostatically attaches to everything in the room.
It gets the hard to reach spots. So it's really good, especially for gyms or elementary schools where children tend to find things to touch that you don't even think of to wipe and disinfect. It goes everywhere.
How are we doing on time?
We have 12 minutes.
Okay, we got, because I want to be able to make sure that we have enough time to answer any questions, because your feedback is incredibly important to us. We want to get a clear understanding, and that's what our team would work towards during the transition to be successful, because there's a lot of things in each school district that are a little bit different. There's different programs. You have gym programs. You have to have a clear understanding of this. What I would like to do, I would like to dedicate Kevin, Phil. By the way, Phil, I spent 2 years trying to recruit. He would work for another organization locally, and he was the best in the business at going out and recruiting and finding people and training. And it took me 2 years of wooing him to get him onto our team. So you will see him around, and he's fantastic. You'll be very impressed with that.
I look forward bringing all my experience and knowledge to Council Rock.
Everybody on this team cares, and these are the people that you're going to see in the buildings, as the day goes and the evening. You need something on the weekends, you're calling us. We're going to be right there. We'll, pipe spray, anything it is that you have, we're going to be right there.
Last Saturday.
We will have all my committee.
Yeah.
Last Saturday, I had one of our clients call because their security went down and they just needed a body to man the building. Actually, I was on my way to a wedding in Phoenix, made a phone call, haven't handled it, and it was that easy. So 24/7, we're always available.
In addition to these three gentlemen, then I'll make the investment and I'll put money, the dollars in, because it's going to be a long-term investment. The three of them are better than anybody in this region. And I know all the other players. And I'd stack them up against anybody because they really care, they get it, they can bring to you what you're missing with your school district right now. As far as the transition is concerned, as the owner of the company, I will even dedicate my own time. This is meaningful dollars and meaningful business for us. Having 65 full-time employees is really great to have in your backyard. And you could search and go a lot of different places for it. This is something that we've wanted to work with you guys for a long, long time. The opportunity hasn't been there, and maybe the door is open for this now. And I'd really like to be able to take a small look at that, because if there's somebody that works with the group now that you think is really strong, we can bring them in. They can work for Reno State. Anybody in good standing with the current provider, I would absolutely be able to offer them a job. I don't have the overhead that these billion-dollar companies have. We can go and invest the dollars right back into our employees and the people here. And I can guarantee you, I don't think we've ever lost anybody because they've said, oh, you know, we're going to pay another dollar here or there. They won't. They're going to come in and they're going to want to work with our group. They probably live within 20 minutes. They're in the community. Some of them are going to want to stay there, but they're going to need to be provided with a lot of additional training and support. And that's where we're really strong, better than anybody else. Evan, you think that you want to add on?
Yeah, just the transition program is extremely important, and we begin January, start that. It's critical that the last day of school, we are 100% ready to go with the floor care program. You know, we realize we have 6 to 8 weeks to complete everything, so if it's not organized, you have to be flexible because you have camps, you have summer school. We know all about this. We know how to get this done. Andrew is the best at that.
We'll bring in additional equipment to be able to get through the floors rather quickly. I think that that's important. We'll bring in boost machines and other pieces of equipment. Yeah, you have to be there. It used to be that you had 10 weeks, or now you have 6 weeks to get everything accomplished. It's tighter, it's leaner. You have more activities going on. I think that this is an incredibly important part. We'll incentivize some of the people that we really feel, because it's a long ways for them to go with this program. They want to know that they're secured with their position, that they're able to stay on board. This way that there's a carrot for them, and you'll continue with having that good service, because we want it to have a baseline for the level of cleanliness, and then we can show where we can take this from there. I know it's your aspirations to, like I said, to take it from a 3 to a 2. I think that we're the only group out there that can take it to a 1.
I'm going to interrupt you because we have 7 minutes, so if you want to do questions, we only have a little time left.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was thinking we had a few more.
Well, sorry.
It goes by 10 minutes. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're trying to be fair with every group.
Absolutely. No. Okay. Well, I think that it's important that you understand that we really strongly believe that we have the most benefits to offer to Council Rock. And no one has the recruiting team, the staffing, the knowledge, and the commitment that we're going to give to you. This is meaningful business, and all I can do is ask you for it, and you'll never regret it. You'll look forward and say, we made the right choice with Interstate. You're going to get a committed group of people.
On the promise and over delivery.
So who's the Council Rock grad?
That's actually our marketing supervisor, Alicia.
That's great.
The one who put the presentation together. She's been working very diligently on Council Rock with all of us.
I was trying to figure out, there's 48 in the room and I'm looking around.
Yeah, she's our marketing director, and she's the one who put it together. Our whole office, 90% of the people in this community.
Actually, everyone's talking about it in our office right now.
They don't want it to come out. I said, no, it's a small room.
I didn't expect it. Can I ask two questions? So the couple of other people were talking about technology, microfiber and electrically activated water. So can you talk a little bit about that?
John?
Is that something you use now?
No, the electrified water, ECH2O, some of the equipment that we use, Nobles makes it, it's electrostatic water, and it goes through the machine. They came out with spray bottles a couple of years ago, and they're out. It didn't work. The biggest thing is the electrostatic spray. Everybody's talking about the touch disinfectant these days. It's big. Ron's been doing it for 5 years, 6 years with vinyl oxide. He's been ahead of the curve on that, and now everybody's kind of, we're getting beat over as a distributor. I need no touch disinfectant. But he's fully microfiber, floors, microfiber wipes, disinfectant. Color coded. We have a sustainable and green cleaning program I work with Interstate on. We have all the SDS sheets, training manuals. We have a full-time training and sustainability manager, Bill McGarvey with Phil Rosenwald Company. We come out to on-site training or any other kind of training.
that you want to meet?
We figured you guys probably heard everything about the, color coded and, restrooms versus common areas and cafeteria, not using the same models. We didn't want to bore you with some of that, especially being the last group.
Nobody brought that up?
They didn't?
Really? It's like cleaning 101.
Yeah. You have to be organized. That's what it is about going into that closet. You tell everything. You're not using the same model. You just came out of those restrooms and now you're getting the hall code. Everything's got to be color code. We're going to bring that level of professionalism and organization. You guys need and desire. I mean, it's important. You need to have this. And, even though we're not $1 billion company, this represents probably about 5% of our business. So you got our attention. You're going to, you say how high, you want to jump, how high. We are going to be that group that you need somebody. I can have the people over here in minutes for anything that you need, but we would rather not be that company that's reactive. We want to be out in front of it. We want to be the ones bringing the items to you and say we can do a better job here. Good, I do guys got questions.
Do you have a letter from Middle MBIT? Is that what I see?
Yes, I do.
Can I see?
Doug, did you have some?
I guess
I apologize.
I think my question would be, we're going to go from, we're going to have however many employees Aramark has here currently. And July 1st, you're going to start here with a new team. You're going to have a short amount of time to ready the buildings for the next school year. How will you get your 60 FTEs or 68 FTEs?
We would have that. If you asked us if there was some type of circumstances and you needed us to start within a week's time, we could do that. We're the only company that can do that in this region. No one else can do that. We would certainly interview the people in good standing with Council Rock. But I'll tell you, we do a full background on each of these people. These other groups aren't doing that. Not at the level that we do. We're vetting everybody. We're going through the process. We care everything. And the mailboxes are probably a good example. We had that contract for 6, 7 years, something like that.
Long time.
And we just lost it due to price. The group that came in from Jersey or somewhere, they're not at the same level that we are. And that's a small contract. But we're passionate about it. It's right around the corner from our Jamison office. And we're able to service the heck out of these things. I want you to know that, we're a full disclosure company. We're the only ones that really put up the numbers that we're going to do. These dollars aren't going to some corporate entity. They're staying right here. We're willing to work at single-digit profit margin, put the value back in the school district.
And in reference to Middlebox, we were there for a number of years, and as Bob said, we lost it due to price. But Rich Hansen still says to me, use me as a reference. You can have any school call me and use me as a reference, because he knows how we cleaned the school, how we maintained it. He knows what the management team was like, what the communication was like. He goes, I know I'm not using you, but you can have anybody call and I'll still give them a reference.
Other board questions?
So I'm sure I understand that the equipment, all the equipment is the vendors, or are we?
Yes, they're bringing all the equipment in.
It's going to be all new equipment. So we're going to go through, we're going to evaluate all that. We have plenty of time on the transition.
The floor scrubber, we have the little floor scrubbers.
The Zambonis and the
Yeah.
schools,
Those are ours, or those are the?
those are the contractors.
All right, to be fair to the other vendors, we're at time limit,
Yep.
correct? Timekeeper? Yep, okay, so.
Just in closing, I just wanted to be able to say, this is our community. We appreciate you guys taking the time, and we're so happy to be applying with this group. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Our team is passionate to make this happen.
I'll be back in touch.
Thank you.
You want to?
Thank you.
No, it's fine. We'll sew it there and we'll put one up.
Sorry?
All this is public record, so.
Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Did we bore you too much? I know it's tough at the end of the night. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you very much. Have a nice night. Thank you.
very much.
Come to my office.
Take care. All right.
Thank you very much.
Back in order. All right, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate your time, too.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Back to our regularly scheduled agenda.
So essentially, the last thing on my agenda was just kind of a recap of what we just, the 3 interviews and the thoughts of the board and what direction we want to consider heading. So we can get something on the agenda for January 18th. What's the next step?
I have some questions. So regarding Aramark, was their price in the RFP, the response to the RFP, different than what their proposed was that you brought to us initially?
For 1B, they are the lowest, for 3 years for option 1B.
That's not what I asked. So they gave us, we started this because.
They didn't change it. I'm sorry.
That's what I was asking. So they came to us with a proposal, 1 year or 3 year, right, before we went into the RFP.
Oh, before,
Right.
Yeah, but the proposal they provided for us was the old hours. But
So
the
we
9.
changed the requirements in the RFP.
Okay.
So they
We changed the
Okay.
requirements.
So it is different.
It is different.
Okay.
And it's not a fair comparison is what I think I'm hearing.
Right, because it's different.
I get it.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I
I
get it.
just wanted to see if there was a pricing shift because we bid out the contract. That's what I wanted to see. 'Cause listen, I appreciate the relationship that we have there, Mark. Certainly appreciate the $500,000 in savings from 2016. What I really don't like is this technology that we could have been using, and now it's being implemented because of potential competition. So I would like to see our vendor bring that to us, because it sounds like other people are using it.
They were slowly bringing it in, but not full force, put it in every school.
I'm gonna tell you, as a professionally, when I'm out, if I'm giving up $500,000 on a contract and stuff, I would have the money. I mean, as long as they had talked to us about it in some manner, we were in situations where we're asking them to save money, not, I don't, personally, I don't fault them.
If they came to me and I was in mid-contract with a fixed price, and they said, Tom, Doug, there's another item which we think you would benefit from. It's this much. And left it to them to say, you know what, we'll go outside the contract and have you pick it up and buy it. We'll carry it. Because you're right, it's not in the contract, but you know what, if the cost to buy it would incrementally improve the delivery of services, that would be in my chance to decide whether.
And they have come to us with.
They said they did bring it.
They brought it in a small scale, and they're starting to use it in a small scale. Requires washing machines to wash the microfiber, so we're talking about adding washing machines to the schools to make sure, or them taking it to another facility to wash them. There's another level of complexity with it, so it's not as simple as bringing a product and taking it back.
And I don't go to customers who are asking me to reduce by $500,000, but by 25% of the contract overall rate, new, more expensive ideas. I make sure I mention it to them, but I hear what you're saying, Mark. If we hadn't gone to them to ask for reductions, I would feel like you feel. But I feel like our message to Aramark over these past few years was, we are such on a cost cutting here, we're gonna cut your people in your hours. We're not don't talk to me about increased costs, because that's what I feel when I was involved in some of the custodial stuff more a few years back. I feel like that was the messaging. So I'm not actually advocating that we award this one to them, but I just don't hold that piece against them because we were really beating them up for money.
I hear that. Now it's a viable option though, because they're potentially losing the business. So I think this is why this is why the RFP process is so valuable, right? because even if you stay with the same vendor, sometimes you get more service out. But I just personally didn't care for that, and I was very impressed with the last group that was in here. So my feeling is I'd like to talk more about them. And can I see the pricing? Do you have that? I don't know if we have it.
You know, for me, it was, I honestly, came in here thinking that, just, my first impression was, it was like the local guys, what are they gonna do? Are they 6 people? And, so what happens? Do you need more staff? We work more hours. That's what I came in here, with a Mayberry RFD mindset about it. They're not Mayberry RFD. No. They don't impress me as,
I need to borrow that sheet that Mark has for us. Can I borrow that back a minute?
Yeah.
the last one.
All I will say is, without publicly saying too much, is that, we did do reference checks on the 3 firms. And of the firms, of the 2, we didn't.
There were other firms that were
Aramark is
stronger.
here, so.
There were other firms that were stronger.
Yes.
That's a good way to say it. I know.
I shared this with you guys already as a board, this document.
Yes, yeah, I have time.
You
with the board, you work with the board.
Yes.
I need to see the handshake now.
Can I just take a look?
Comments from, what,
I'll be very frank. My experience, while it's 4 years ago, having been an employee in a building that Aramark cleaned, my impression, teachers were never really satisfied with the level of cleanliness and the job provided by Aramark.
So that's true, but that's why we're going from an APA level 3 to an APA level 2. APA level 3 is essentially cleaning areas at the beginning of the week and kind of dusting until you get to the next week when you final clean them again. So they're not doing anything they're not supposed to do. I mean, could they have gone a level above and tried to clean it better? I guess, but there's costs associated with that. So we've asked them to move to level 2, which is, it feels clean. The description isn't dirty, it's clean. APA level 1, I heard what the last group said, but that's a hospital. I mean, I don't know. And I mean, personally, and I will say this publicly because they did present it publicly, I'm not a fan of getting a project by going after my competitors and finding the negatives about the other people. I don't think that's a way to sell a, you don't dim the candle of another to make yours look better. I don't agree with that approach at all.
And that was off-putting to me as well. That I just, tell me the benefits of you.
Tell me about you, not about the other people.
I tell you what, I appreciated it. And I'll tell you, it could have been, I think it could have been presented a little bit better, but I appreciate when someone, because
it's not true though, but what they're saying is
what we have, can I finish? Here's what we have is an expert in the field that is pointing out something we may not be aware of. Now, we knew when he talked about staffing and the full-time hours, because Aramark said, we're building in overtime. Yeah, we get that, because they purposely brought that up, but they didn't talk about segregating mops, right?
They did. Rick mentioned that the mop and water is not sanitary and we need to go to microfiber. We didn't get into the details of it, but we talk about it all the time about not using toilet room water in corridors or classrooms. I mean, the
point is, I enjoyed the comparison. Again, I think it could have been handled a little bit differently and a little bit better, but I enjoyed the comparison.
For me, the references weigh pretty heavily.
Yeah, I agree.
So, presentations are good. I frankly enjoyed all 3. The first people are very, very likable. Very, you're just trustworthy. You believe a presentation. I enjoyed all 3 presentations for different reasons. You can't beat a Council Rock grad. Always want to go with a Council Rock grad where I can. But when the price is so close and information is so close, references tilt me.
The last page shows the hours, Mark. You can see the hours.
I get that. Yeah, I understand that.
So, do we have the references? They'll give them to us.
Yeah, you guys have
the references
and I will say that we know what we know about Aramark, and I do know that they're working to make changes. And Rick, who was here, is a fantastic contact that we deal with every day. He's very responsive. He's at the mercy of his office, and I do believe that they're ramping things up. And if they get the next contract, I believe they will do the things they say they're going to do. I think they value the relationship. SSC was also a very strong reference when we called people. I've heard no negatives about the first group. So.
And input from either you or Tom regarding the value of the local connection over any of those things. I mean, that struck me. The value of having that local connection.
You're talking an hour versus 15 minutes. I mean, it's not the Tennessee thing. Yeah, I mean, it's a little more concerning.
Yeah, but the local is different than driving time. Local is
Pennsylvania versus Tennessee.
People living
in the community.
Living here.
I love to finish my thought. So people living in the community, the money that they earn coming back into the community, paying taxes into the school, that's important. It's not just travel time. It really isn't. So it is that whole sense of community. And you know, one of their employees being a Council Rock grad, you know, it just says a lot. But references go a long way too.
I want to be careful about carving too closely. I don't know that it's going to come back to Council Rock. I don't think they're, you know, I'm looking at the price, at the wages. I'm looking at, because that staff that's being hired there is competing with the staff that we're hiring for classroom aides, you know, who are at a similar compensation scale and potentially, and have the benefit of being part of the Peasers retirement plan there.
All the good people we have that are doing it now that are in good standing, they're gonna hire. And it's not like they just need people sitting there unemployed that they're suddenly.
It's the same thing we had with bus drivers.
Yes, 100%.
It's the same,
100%.
maybe without the union.
I would like to know about the supervisor ratio and, if, you know, how we feel about Aramark supervisor ratio. And what I saw in the presentation looked as good as the others, but.
Yeah, I don't think that there's a.
Well, they have 3 supervisors on site.
Every day.
Every day. One's
And
at
does
night.
that seem adequate?
Two are
Or
during
do
the
you
day.
have times where you think that that's not adequate?
I have concerns with it.
Okay.
So did you hear anything from the other proposals that, where they would have more supervisors on site? That's not something I keyed in on.
Probably what I saw here.
So how much,
All my answers,
how many more did
that's
you
my,
get?
That's my answer sheet.
that's my answer sheet.
Doug needs to keep this, so we're just gonna give it to you later.
Okay.
This is.
On site?
No, that was the presentation.
Okay,
We'll get it.
not on site. So we have 3 on, right.
What they present.
But the other group said 10, but that wouldn't be necessarily committed on site.
So
It should be. And you're talking about on site, just in the district, available in the district. Like, they're in some building somewhere.
finished? Okay. So I'm not gonna talk over you ever again. So the number of supervisors, they listed, Aramark listed as 3. I asked them if they were, the others listed 10 and 8.25. I said, they listed purely the supervisors that were here for night, day, and Rick. But they said that it's actually, in addition, it's the lead that they're going to put in each school when they change this process. So they're going to have someone that can effectively communicate in each school, night and day.
Because I don't think
That's
we're all
correct.
planning it.
So that's
Now
new. They don't have it now, but essentially, you have 15 buildings, they're going to provide
A lead in every.
a lead in every building, 15 day, 15 nights.
So it's the different, I think the different providers counted that
Will
word
change.
differently.
It should.
I can't remember, forgive me, it was one of the first 2 had a list, because I thought it was interesting too, that they showed the Sloan School had, you know, it's like 0.5 in the evening and 0 in the day, because it's a very small building, I understand that. But that's where I was picking that up, that the first employee in the place is the supervisor, it's the lead. And then, so that's what they're doing in their model is, in whoever's that model was, I can't remember if it was the first or the second.
It was,
But-
it was That was SSC.
It was SSC. So that, I mean, the first employee in that building is the lead. And then you get multiples and you scale through the second, through the staff position.
And that's similar. There's a number of day porters that Aramark shows, and I'm sure the other team is the same. Interstate.
More generic questions?
Are we down to Aramark and Interstate?
What was no, that was my next question. What's our next step? What are, are we deciding, or are we going to deliberate some more? Are we going to stew on this?
I would like to go back and thoroughly read the paperwork that I know has already been issued to me.
Yeah. And we need to get it from our perspective, so.
It would be unfair of me to.
That was my thinking as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I have parents who didn't bring with me.
Next time Doug will bring one for each of us.
Yes, he will.
Doug provided it.
You give something up?
No, you guys have a big folder. And I have a pack for you downstairs.
I think it would also, we don't want to make a decision without.
No,
the rest of the board.
I don't think it.
No, I don't. I think the next facilities meeting is.
Well, it's January 4th, so the only thing that I would have on the agenda would be that.
And that's what I'm thinking might be the best. We'll devote a whole meeting to this, and whatever timely stuff comes up between now and then, but let's.
I don't see anything.
I don't either, but.
I'm in South Carolina the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for work. So I was gonna try to come back on the 4th if they move the redistricting meeting, but I may or may not be here on the 4th. I guess they're not gonna move if you haven't heard anything, because if it was on the 4th, I could at least try to get back here. I can't get back to the night of the 3rd. But I think it's been advertised too much and it's already done, not changing for me. So, but I'm good if we decide on the night of the 4th, and I'll do my best.
Well, we would not formally vote until the next regular.
I'm okay with that, but I'm saying, like, I'm just
Truthfully, if
sharing
we meet
what we're
on
talking about.
the meeting on the 4th, we can get consensus from the board.
Yes.
Turn it back to Doug and the legal to keep pushing it through, so it'll come back for official vote at our late January meeting.
And that gives you some
Sharing
room.
conflicts
No,
on the
but,
4th that I-
yeah, and that gives you some room to interject and weigh in.
You could dial in if you like.
With the new speaker.
But I'll plane.
Yeah.
If I'm not here on the 4th, I'll be on the plane home. I am coming home.
The timeline works for you, the board meeting in January, to be able to award it. And I get the impression that,
But you asked a question, and I was gonna answer, and I was gonna answer it on top of.
Please don't interrupt. But I don't want to interrupt you asking me another question before I get to the first one. No, he likes to talk a lot. He finds that out.
The answer is yes. What was the question?
so go ahead, answer the first question. I have a follow-up question for you. See, now this is why I don't like to be interrupted, because now I've forgotten my question.
It's just all about you remembering.
That's
It's not
exactly
really
what
about getting
it's,
answers.
no, it's not, that's what it's called.
Because I can't remember.
Oh, here's my second question. I'm getting the impression that you're more comfortable with Aramark, only because you're more comfortable with Aramark and you know how they work and you have these big transitions going on and construction. So is that fair to say that if we ask for your opinion, that you would say Aramark?
My opinion would be Aramark or SSC if there was a need to make a change personally, based on what I've learned from speaking to people and what I've seen tonight. That's just my opinion.
That's fair.
More? No? All right, so that's kind of, we've got a plan.
So it's right, so we'll finalize on, as a discussion topic with more robustness on January 4th. Someone's direction. I do want to have 1 minute with board members just to summarize what we did last night. We're 5 minutes from this.
All right, first we're gonna have public comment, and keep the recording going.
I'm here to facilitate this meeting because I continue to have concerns about redistricting so many Northampton students up to the middle in order to balance the high schools. And we have had thoughts in the beginning of the capital planning that we would redistrict a school up to a middle school, and that's when they would go first go to north. They would first go to north in 7th grade, not in kindergarten. And when you're adding 5 classrooms onto Wrightstown, Wrightstown I just got the numbers, only has 260 some kids who live in Wrightstown that go to elementary school. So if you're building a school that's 450, 500, whatever, you have to redistrict out of, some of them might be close to Newtown. But then if you redistrict Newtown, then you empty out that school, and that school becomes the district. So, with the fact that we have 4 free classrooms at Soul Fine Center on the list, I don't know why we're spending the money on Wrightstown except to make it a K-6. And a K-6 2-section school is not as efficient as combining Wrightstown and Newtown as one school, just as Chancellor here was combined with Goodman. So we had a lot of sections because everybody who lived in both areas went to Chancellor, K-2, then they went up to Goodnow, 3 to 6. I won't want to have that many sections again. When my kids went, we had 1,100 kids between the 2 schools. At one point, we were the biggest, okay. This would not be a situation. If you only had K-1 at Wrightstown, so everybody who was redistricting there, you would have 4 sections. And I looked at every single grade we have now, and when they go up to 4th grade and they become 28 in class, they lose a section. So you have economies of scale that you can use when you have more kids. Just like somebody wanted to do a 4th and 5th grade for the whole district. It was saving with 5 at Wrightstown. Not only would we save the money, we wouldn't need a bigger gym because there are only little kids there. We wouldn't need they could still share the cafeteria, they would be the same size. Then the kids wouldn't feel like they're friars, they would be one community. Starting from kindergarten, they would be one community. So they would all know each other, K, 1, 2, whatever. It's a big area, but it's not that many, they only have 260 kids. The numbers I got was there's 163 kids who live in Wrightstown who go to Wrightstown. There's 11 from Northampton that go to Wrightstown now, and Newtown 26 for